Captain Joseph C. McConnell, 51st Fighter Interceptor Wing. His cockpit-level, first-hand accounts and remarkable kill record offer the most emotionally anchored window into the moment Soviet pilots realized American jets dominated the Korean skies. There is one rule every fighter pilot in the early jet age believes without question: speed is power, and the MiG-15 owns the speed. For months in Korea, this rule stands unbroken. Soviet advisors tell their protégés that the MiG climbs faster, hits harder, and turns tighter. Chinese and North Korean squadrons repeat it like scripture. Even Western analysts whisper it in intelligence rooms. The MiG is the menace of the North, the hunter of the Yalu, the one aircraft the Americans cannot outrun. MiG Alley becomes a proving ground for this unbreakable truth. At altitudes above 40,000 feet, where the air thins and engines scream, pilots know the law. If you see a MiG above you, you are already dead. It is the rule Soviet advisors cling to because they wrote it. Their aircraft, their training, their tactics, their pride. But in 1953, one man and one moment shatters that belief so violently that Soviet pilots begin whispering a new truth: the Americans rule the sky. You meet him as Captain Joseph C. Mack, 31 years old, a former B-24 navigator who clawed his way into the cockpit long after most pilots had already begun their careers. He isn't the fastest. He isn't the flashiest. What sets him apart is something rarer: calm clarity under impossible pressure and an obsessive drive to understand every quirk of the F-86 Sabre. He memorizes engine output curves, fuel flow rates, and the precise split-second lag between trigger pull and .5 caliber burst. His crew chiefs say he studies the Sabre like a man trying to read the mind of a living creature, and he does it because he understands the stakes. By late 1952, the Korean War's air campaign had devolved into a deadly math problem. Control the skies over the Yalu River, and UN forces can thaw the frozen stalemate. Lose that airspace, and enemy bombers can devastate frontline positions. Every sortie matters. Every pilot counts. And waiting just across the border are hundreds of Soviet-flown MiGs, forbidden to cross south, but free to pounce the moment an American climbs too high or stays too long. This is the world you enter with McConnell, a narrow corridor of sky, roughly 200 miles long, where kill ratios decide strategy and morale. By the spring of 1953, McConnell had racked up 5 kills, but the Soviets aren't scared yet. They still believe the rule. Today, he will face the challenge that rewrites it. You strap into the Sabre, the canopy locks, and the MiGs are waiting. The sky over MiG Alley looks deceptively calm when you cross the Yalu River at 32,000 feet, but every pilot knows this place is a trap. The air is thin, the margins razor-thin, and somewhere above you, always above you, waits the enemy the world believes unstoppable.
McConnell flies lead in a 4-ship formation of F-86 Sabres from the 39th Fighter Interceptor Squadron. You hear the hum of the J-47 engine resonate through the cockpit frame, a deep vibration that settles into your bones. The oxygen mask presses tight against your face. The air smells faintly of rubber and cold metal. Then the silence breaks. Bandits, 12 o'clock, high, Angels 3-5. 12 MiGs, at least 12, maybe more, are hiding in the glare. You tilt your head back. Against the sun, tiny silver darts descend in a disciplined stack. The Soviets love this formation. High, fast, and perfectly positioned to dictate the fight. Every pilot in Korea knows the rule drilled into them. The MiG owns the vertical. McConnell doesn't hesitate. He presses the radio switch. Sabres, stay tight. Nobody breaks unless I call it. We take them head on. Your stomach tenses. Taking MiGs head on breaks every Soviet expectation. American pilots aren't supposed to challenge from below, and certainly not 4 against 12. At 34,000 feet, distance shrinks fast. The closing rate climbs past 900 miles per hour. Sunlight glints off the MiG's swept wings as they fan out. The lead enemy flight cuts down the center line, cannons ready. McConnell grits his teeth. Here they come. At 1,500 yards, your canopy fills with moving metal. At 1,200, the MiGs split, 2 climbing left, 2 diving right, the classic Soviet scissor maneuver. At 1,000, tracers snap across your nose like fiery needles. The Sabre shudders as you and McConnell push throttles to the stops. Your engine screams at 100% military power. Then, McConnell sees it. The lead MiG driver flinches, barrels a degree too low. A tiny error, but at this speed, a degree is destiny. McConnell throws the Sabre into a climbing left turn so violent your vision grays around the edges. The G-forces hammer your chest. Your breath comes in sharp bursts. Sweat pools under your helmet. The Sabre's wing roots groan as the aircraft flips inverted and drops into a diving roll. Your stomach rises toward your throat. The airframe vibrates as speed climbs 600 miles per hour, 645, 690. Below you, one MiG pulls up too late. McConnell steadies his thumbs on the trigger. I've got him. He fires. 650 caliber M3 machine guns erupt in a tearing roar. The barrels shake. Shell casings rattle against the fuselage. Tracer rounds streak upward, carving orange lines through the Korean sky. The MiG erupts in sparks. Panels shear away. A thin trail of smoke thickens into fire. The enemy pilot ejects, tumbling end over end as his aircraft disintegrates. Kill number 6. But there's no victory lap. The fight has barely started.
Break! Break! You've got 3 on you. McConnell throws the Sabre right as 3 MiGs slash through the space he occupied a heartbeat earlier. Their 23mm cannons roar, heavy, concussive bursts. Shells zip past your canopy, each one capable of tearing the Sabre in half. You feel the shockwave of a near miss. McConnell clamps down on instinct and dives again. Airspeed climbs. Your body compresses against the seat. The wind shrieks over the canopy hood. Altitude falls. 30,000 feet, 28,000, 25,000, 22,000. The MiGs stick to the tail like wolves. McConnell mutters into the mask. They're good. Too good. You smell hot metal. The guns have overheated from the first burst. Ammunition counters read dangerously low. Fuel levels start to dip after long seconds at full throttle. You can't outrun them. You can't outclimb them. So he breaks the rule again. McConnell rules hard right, pulls back, and turns straight toward the pursuers. The MiGs don't expect it. Not from an American. Not at this altitude. Not when they outnumber him 3-1. For a split second, they hesitate. McConnell doesn't. He climbs, 4 Gs, then 5, then 5.3. The Sabre vibrates as it claws upward. One MiG pilot panics, pulling too hard. The MiG-15 stalls momentarily, nose drifting downward. That's all McConnell needs. The Sabre rotates behind the wobbling MiG in an elegant, impossibly tight scissors turn. He pulls the trigger. A short, controlled burst. Rounds smash into the MiG's wing root. The aircraft snaps into a violent spin, trailing debris, then plunges toward the earth. Kill number 7. You exhale once, but the moment dies instantly. A warning light blinks. Ammunition, 0. Completely dry. Fuel, borderline. Altitude, 20,000 feet. And the last 2 MiGs dive in with predatory confidence. They close fast, 2,000 yards, 1,500, 1,200. McConnell whispers to himself, "Come on, think."
Below you stretches a barren expanse of Korean mountains. No cover, no hiding place, only sky, enemy fighters, and a nearly empty fuel tank. McConnell chooses the only path that gives even a shred of hope. He dives. Not a gentle descent, this is a nose-down plunge, nearly vertical. Your vision shakes, your arms tense on the seat harness. Wind screams like a living creature around the frame. Altitude collapses. 15,000 feet, 12,000, 10,000, 9,000. You can almost feel the ground's heat radiating upward. The MiGs follow. They match the descent perfectly. Their swept wings slice through thinner, warmer air. Their speed advantage narrows. At 8,000 feet, McConnell eases the stick forward. The Sabre finally begins to level out, engines howling. The MiGs prepare to finish the kill. But then, they break. Both enemy fighters peel upward, banking away in a hard left turn. They retreat. You blink. Then, you understand why. They have strict orders. Never chase Sabres below safe altitude. Too many Soviet pilots have died trying to follow Americans into low-level fights where the MiG's control surfaces stiffen and the Sabre's superior roll rate dominates. McConnell exploited that rule perfectly. He pulls level at 7,500 feet, alone, exhausted, empty on ammo, and nearly dry on fuel. But alive. He calls it in. Returning to base, 2 confirmed. His voice stays calm, but his hands shake slightly on the stick. As he heads south, another flight of MiGs climbs from the Chinese side of the Yalu. They're perfectly positioned to intercept. But they don't. They hold altitude, they watch. They measure the lone Sabre with wary eyes, and they let him pass.
For the first time, Soviet advisors see an American who should have died, who by every rule should have died, but who instead humiliates 2 full MiG flights and escapes untouched. Their monitors track the Sabre disappearing into the southern sky. Their commanders demand explanations. Their pilots mutter the new whisper spreading through MiG Alley. The Sabres choose the fight, not us. McConnell lands at Suwon Air Base on fumes. The tires screech against the runway. Mechanics rush in. He opens the canopy and inhales warm Korean air, humid and heavy. Sweat runs down his neck. His flight suit sticks to his skin. Then the ground crew chief sees his ammo counters. "You fired everything?" McConnell nods. "And still got 2? Silence hangs for a moment. Word spreads across the base like wildfire. A lone Sabre, outnumbered 3-1, diving through 10,000 feet, empty on rounds, forced the MiGs to disengage. Something fundamental has changed, and every Soviet advisor listening from the other side of the Yalu knows it too. What Soviet advisors don't yet understand is how deeply this moment will reshape the war. Because McConnell's breakthrough isn't just a pilot having a good day, it's proof, mathematically, tactically, psychologically, that the F-86 Sabre can dominate even when the MiG-15 holds the altitude advantage. American analysts take note. Tactics shift. Squadrons begin climbing steeper, engaging earlier, forcing MiGs into vertical fights where the Sabres' roll rate shines. The results come fast. Kill ratios that had wavered around 4-1 surged to 7-1, then 10-1, and by late 1953 peaked at 14-1 in some engagements. The Soviet command sends angry cables demanding answers. Regiments reshuffle. Pilots ordered to avoid lone Sabres unless outnumbering them 4-1. New rules of engagement attempt to protect inexperienced flyers. But it's too late. The psychological tide has turned. North Korean and Chinese pilots begin refusing to climb past 38,000 feet. UN bombers operate with increasing freedom. And the air war's outcome, with all its strategic consequences, tilts irreversibly toward the United Nations. The impact won't be fully understood until years later, when declassified Soviet documents reveal the truth. McConnell's actions helped convince Soviet command that escalation in Korea, from jets to bombers to nuclear brinkmanship, was too risky. The cost in pilots was already too high.
After Korea, Joseph C. McConnell returns home a national hero. Husband, father of 3, the quiet, unassuming man from Dover, New Hampshire, who outflew the jet that supposedly ruled the sky. But fate is unforgiving. Just months after returning home, during a test flight of an F-86H, McConnell experiences a control malfunction. He ejects at low altitude. He dies at age 31. Today, his name is carved on memorials, but too few remember why the Soviets feared the Silver Wolves. Too few remember the moment one calm, determined pilot broke the rule that dominated the jet age. His wingmen, men like Lieutenant Samuel P. Young, Captain Harold Fisher, and Major Manuel J. Fernandez, carried the legacy of the 51st Fighter Interceptor Wing forward. But McConnell's story is the one that shifted the balance in MiG Alley. And it matters now because history is fragile. If we don't speak these names, the sky grows silent. If we don't remember their courage, the lessons fade. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Captain Joseph C. McConnell and the men of the 51st Fighter Interceptor Wing do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.